I found out I have a secret brother. At my dad's funeral. I grew up as an only child in what I thought was a typical middle-class family in Ohio. My parents were strict but loving, and my childhood was relatively stable, or so I believed. My father passed away unexpectedly 2 months ago due to a heart attack. During the funeral, a man in his late 20s showed up. Tall, confident, slightly awkward. My mom turned white as a ghost the moment she saw him. When the service ended, he approached me and said, "I'm Sam. I think I'm your brother." After the funeral, I cornered my mom in the kitchen while the rest of the family was eating potato salad and sharing memories. I asked her who Sam was. She paused, took a shaky breath and said, "He's a liar. Your father had some mental health issues. Don't let some stranger ruin your memories of him." I didn't know what to believe, but Sam was still outside, standing near the tree line, smoking nervously. I walked up to him and asked for proof. He handed me a sealed letter, handwritten with my father's signature at the bottom. It read, "To both of my children, I regret the choices I made. I didn't have the strength to fight for the truth, but you both deserved to know each other. One day, when I'm gone, I hope you'll find each other. I've set up something in the will to try and make it right." He wasn't lying. I had a brother, and my parents, both of them, had hidden him from me for 25 years. 3 days after the funeral, we gathered at my dad's lawyer's office for the will reading. It was me, my mom, Sam, and the lawyer, an older man with thick glasses and the world's most awkward energy. He shuffled papers nervously before reading aloud. "To my daughter and son, I leave behind my estate in equal parts, on the condition that they reconcile and spend 30 consecutive days together under one roof, the family lake house, within 1 year of my death." I sat in stunned silence. Sam looked like he was about to throw up. My mom exploded. She screamed, "Absolutely not. This is sick. He's not part of this family. That house is hers." Then something wild happened. My mom lunged across the desk and grabbed the copy of the will, trying to snatch and rip it. The lawyer physically stopped her. She screamed again. "That will was never supposed to see the light of day. He promised me." Everyone in the room was silent. My world and Sam's had officially blown open. That night, I got a text from my mom. "Come over. We need to talk. Just us." I drove over, heart pounding. She had wine ready and tried to act calm, but I could see her hands shaking. She started with guilt. "You know how hard your dad made things for me. You were always my only child. That boy, he was just a mistake." Then came the bribe. "If you agree to contest the will and say Sam is manipulating the situation, I'll give you $250,000 from my personal accounts. No questions asked." I asked, "So you do have money?" She hesitated, then nodded. I laughed. "You hid a whole human from me, and now I'm supposed to help you erase him again?" She started crying, saying I was naive and too emotional. I left. The next morning, she posted a cryptic Facebook status that read, "Sometimes the child you love most turns on you like a stranger." My phone blew up. People thought I'd gone crazy. After a week of back-and-forth texts, awkward silences, and some legal confirmations, Sam and I agreed. We'd do the 30 days together at the lake house. It was the only way either of us would see a dime of that inheritance. We moved in mid-April. The house was huge but old, creaky, and eerily silent. The kind of place that should have felt peaceful but didn't. We slept in opposite wings of the house, barely spoke, and avoided each other like strangers at a gas station. On the third night, we tried having dinner together. It was awkward but civil, until we heard a crunch outside. We ran out. Both our cars had their tires slashed. Not just punctured, shredded. On the porch was a note written in black marker. "This house was never meant to be his." Sam turned pale. "I think that was for me," he muttered. I called the sheriff, but we both knew the truth. My mom was watching, and she wasn't done yet. It was day 5 at the lake house. Still no repair on the tires, and we were stuck with instant ramen and bad Wi-Fi. Sam mostly stayed in his room. I stayed in mine. The silence was louder than any argument. Then a knock. A woman in her late 50s stood on the porch. Confident, poised, dressed in all black. She looked like someone who belonged at a Manhattan boardroom, not on a lakeside porch in Ohio. "Hi, I'm Jillian," she said. "I was your father's other partner." I froze. Sam didn't. He came to the door, saw her, and immediately whispered, "Holy sh*T, you're still alive." That sentence hit me like a truck. Turns out Jillian had been with my dad for over 2 decades. During his business trips, he was actually living a double life with her and raising Sam. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She simply said, "Your mother knew. She just thought she'd won." And then she handed me an envelope. I waited until Jillian left before opening the envelope. My hands were trembling. Sam watched from the other side of the room, arms crossed, like he already knew what was inside. There were dozens of pages. Copies of bank transfers showing $300,000 moved from our family trust into a personal offshore account in the Cayman Islands. All under my mother's name. Photos of my father and Jillian with Sam as a child. Vacations. Birthdays. Sam learning to ride a bike. My dad was there. And finally, the letter. It was addressed to me. From my dad. Dated 6 years ago. If you're reading this, it means I couldn't bring myself to tell you the truth in life. Your mother and I made mistakes, but she made one I never forgave. She forged documents, drained your college fund, and used it to fight Sam's mother in court to keep you both apart. I tried to make it right in my will, even if it causes pain. You deserve to know everything. My stomach dropped. She used my college fund to pay for lawyers, to keep my brother hidden. I remembered the scholarships I had to scrape together, the part-time jobs, the nights I cried because we couldn't afford more. It was all a lie. I called my mom the next morning and told her to meet me at a cafe in town. I didn't say why, just that it was urgent. She showed up in pearls and sunglasses like she was ready for brunch with the governor. I dropped the envelope on the table between us. She looked at it, didn't even touch it. And then she said, "So, he gave it to you." No shock, no denial, just cold acceptance. "You stole from me," I said. Her smile didn't waver. "I protected you." Then she leaned in and said something I'll never forget. "That boy was born of weakness. Your father got manipulated by some woman who wanted his money. I fought for you to have a real life. I'd do it again in a heartbeat." I asked, "Did you even love Dad?" She paused, and then she said, "I loved the man he was before her." She stood up, dropped $20 on the table, and left like it was any other day. I sat there for 10 minutes, unable to move. Later that night, Sam found me crying in the lake house kitchen. He poured us both a drink and said, "You're not the only one she screwed over, but we still have 21 days left. Let's make them count." That night, Sam pulled out a copy of the full will. Not the summary we got from the lawyer, the entire document, page by page. "There's something buried near the end," he said. "I wasn't going to tell you, but after what your mom pulled, maybe you deserve to know." He flipped to the last few pages and pointed. "In the event that either beneficiary chooses not to fulfill the 30-day cohabitation clause, the entire estate will default to the party that remains in residence. In short, if Sam left even 1 day early, I would get everything. But there was more. If both parties stay the full 30 days, the estate is to be split equally and irrevocably." I felt sick. Sam looked at me and said, "I trust you won't use this against me, but you deserve to know what your options are." He left the room. I sat there staring at that line. I could walk away with everything. All I had to do was make him quit, push him, break him, and suddenly, I realized why my mom had wanted me alone so badly. She knew about this clause. It was day 14. We were halfway through our 30-day sentence at the lake house. Things were tense, not hostile but cautious. Sam and I would cook together sometimes, play cards, even laugh, but there was always an invisible wall. We both knew what was at stake. The inheritance, the betrayal clause. One morning, I opened the front door and found a small white envelope taped to it. No stamp, no name, just my first name written in all caps with a black Sharpie. Inside was a single sheet of paper, typed. He's lying to you too. Ask him who really knew about the clause first. And why he had a copy of the will before the funeral. Blood doesn't make someone family. Be careful. I froze. Sam had said he got a copy after the reading. But this note suggested otherwise. That night I asked him directly, "When did you really get the will?" He didn't answer right away. Then finally said, "I got a copy 2 weeks before Dad died. He mailed it to me. He told me. He wasn't sure if your mom would destroy it." I felt the same drop in my gut I'd felt with my mom. "So you came to the funeral ready to collect?" He looked hurt, but didn't deny it. That was when I realized. Everyone here had been playing a game. Except me. Until now. For the first time in this entire mess, I decided to be the one pulling the strings. I didn't know exactly how to play this, but I needed to find out just how far Sam would go, how far everyone would go, for the money. So I put my plan into motion. I reached out to my mom. Her first reaction was predictable. "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" I played dumb. "I want to make things right, but I need your help." I told her I was going to force Sam into a corner, and that it was time to confront him about everything. The will, the money, the clause, everything. But I told her I needed her to back me up when the moment came. I lied about one thing. I didn't need her support. I needed her to believe I was on her side. So I made her think she could control the situation. The next day, Sam and I sat down in the living room, the tension almost palpable. I asked him straight up, "Do you plan on leaving before the full 30 days are up?" He looked at me with a mixture of fear and calculation. "No, but if things get too much, I'll walk." Then I dropped the bombshell. "I'm leaving. I'm done." He froze. For a split second, I saw his mask slip. His eyes widened, and I knew he hadn't expected me to make the first move. Then, as quickly as it appeared, his expression went cold again. "Why?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. "The perfect cover." I smiled. "Because I can't trust you. Not anymore." He stood up, walking toward the door, like he was about to bolt. But before he left, he said, "You'll regret this. It's your choice." As he left, I watched him, the silence heavy in the house. I had him where I wanted him. I was sitting alone in the living room when my phone buzzed. The number on the screen was the lawyer's office, the one who read the will. "Hello." It was the lawyer, his voice shaking. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I need to inform you of something important." He paused. "There's been a change to the will. Someone has already altered the terms. And it's been signed." I froze. "What? Who did it?" He hesitated. "It was your mother." I nearly dropped my phone. "What?" Apparently, my mom had contacted the lawyer earlier in the week, after I'd spoken to her at the cafe. She demanded the will be revised to remove Sam entirely. She claimed that I was the rightful heir because I'd been the one devoted to the family business while Sam was nothing more than a result of your father's weakness. She'd had it altered. Behind my back. Couldn't believe it. My mom had already pulled off the next phase of her manipulation, and I hadn't even known. "But that's illegal," I shouted. The lawyer sighed, his voice soft. "I'm afraid the revisions are legal for now. Your mom has a lot of influence with the firm." I wanted to scream. I had no idea how deep her influence went. I called Sam. No answer. I called him again. Nothing. I started to panic. If Sam found out what she had done before I could get to him, I couldn't wait any longer. I knew what I had to do. I called both my mom and Sam. "We need to meet. All of us. Tomorrow. At the lake house." My mom was cold. She knew the power she still had, and she assumed I was going to bend. Sam, on the other hand, was more confused than anything. The next afternoon, we were all gathered in the living room. The tension was unbearable. "I know everything," I said, looking directly at my mom. "I know you changed the will. I know you lied about Dad. And I know you've been manipulating me and Sam the entire time." Her face turned pale, but she didn't say anything. She just stared at me, calculating. "You don't know everything." Sam looked back and forth between us, unsure of what I meant. "What are you talking about?" he asked. I turned to him. "I know you got a copy of the will early, and I know what my mom did. I'm not going to stand here and let her walk all over us anymore." Sam was visibly shaken. He knew there were still pieces to this puzzle he didn't fully understand. "You knew?" he whispered. "All this time?" I nodded. "Yes, but now I'm done with both of you manipulating me. It ends today." I pulled out the envelope Jillian had given me weeks ago. "This is the proof that my mom hid the truth from me for years. She kept you, Sam, from me. And then she tried to rewrite the story once Dad died. But I'm not letting that happen." Sam's eyes widened. He glanced at my mom, who was silent now, trying to hold herself together. Then I made my move. "I'm contesting the altered will. I'm going to the press. And I'm going to the courts." My mom's lips tightened. "You'll regret this. You'll lose everything." I stood firm. "I don't care anymore. This isn't about money. This is about what's right. And I'm not going to let you tear this family apart." The day after my confrontation with my mom and Sam, things moved fast. My mom tried to spin the story, sending out statements to friends and family about my betrayal. But Sam and I weren't going to let her control the narrative anymore. I contacted a lawyer immediately, one who specialized in family inheritance cases. Within days, we had a plan in motion. We filed to contest the will, and I made the decision to take it to the media. It wasn't just about me anymore. It wasn't even about Sam. It was about the truth. And I wasn't going to let my mom destroy my dad's legacy or his memory any longer. The media picked up the story quickly. The headlines were wild. Family inheritance battle. Daughter accuses mother of manipulation after hidden sibling revealed. There were interviews, talk shows. Everyone had an opinion. But the bombshell? It came a few days later when the court files were released, and they revealed the truth about my dad's past. The truth? My dad had been financially supporting Jillian and Sam for years, long before he ever met my mom. He'd been sending them money under a different name, using his business to funnel funds to keep them afloat. My mom knew about this, but instead of confronting him, she buried it. She told me my dad was doing business during those trips, when in fact he was spending weekends with his second family. The truth was out. The betrayal was undeniable. Sam and I finally sat down again, this time in the middle of the media storm. "You were right," he said, his voice softer than before. "We've both been living in a shadow of lies. But I didn't want to drag you into this mess." I nodded. "I didn't want to be in the middle of this either. But you're my brother. I should have known." We were finally starting to understand each other. The bitterness, the distance. It was all a product of the years we spent apart, unknowingly manipulated by our mother. The legal battle dragged on for months. My mom tried everything to drag out the process, using her influence and wealth to get the best lawyers. But it was no use. The truth was too powerful. The court ruled in my favor. The altered will was declared invalid. And I, as my father's only legitimate child, inherited everything. The press erupted. People congratulated me, called me brave. Some people even praised me for fighting for family, while others labeled me as greedy. It felt like both winning and losing at the same time. But the inheritance was just the beginning. Sam and I split the estate 50-50, as my father had intended in his original will. But Sam never really wanted the money. He told me one night, "I didn't come here for the cash. I just wanted the chance to know my dad, to have a family again." I realized how much I'd taken for granted, how much I'd never questioned. I had spent my whole life building walls around me, convinced I had to be perfect, that I had to protect my mom and the family name. But what I was really protecting was the lie. I was just as complicit as anyone. The hardest part? Forgiving my mom. She never apologized. She never admitted what she'd done. Even when I gave her a chance to talk, she stuck to her story. "You should be grateful. You don't understand what I did for you." In the end, I chose to cut ties with her. I couldn't keep living in her shadow. I couldn't allow her manipulation to poison my life any longer. As for Sam and me, we started rebuilding our relationship, slowly. It wasn't perfect. We didn't suddenly become best friends, but we learned to trust each other. We learned to understand that we had both been victims of a story written by someone else. Our bond was still fragile, but it was real. Ida, I don't know. Some days I feel like I've done the right thing. Other days it feels like everything I've gained has come at a terrible cost. Maybe there's no real answer. Maybe the price of truth is peace, and I just don't know if I'm willing to pay it. But I do know one thing. I'm free. Finally.